So I think that it is appropriate to show this type of thing on telly. This is happening to young people in today's society, and people need to be made aware that this is happening and how they can seek help. And at the end of the programme, they show where to get that help. So I don't think there's any issues for complaints.
No, and I mean, one of the good things about it is I've been into a couple of schools now where young people have actually mentioned the fact that they've seen it, and they're saying, well, yeah, actually that happens.
Creates topic of discussion.
And I can appreciate for some parents it's a difficult topic for their children or young people to see, and they may then have to have a discussion with that young person, and they may not feel comfortable about it, but at least that young person then has that information. And to a certain extent, for the parents, they've got that information. It isn't just a storyline, it's a reality. Perhaps, as much as it makes them feel uncomfortable, perhaps for them, it's about acknowledging this happens, and that their child could be that young person in Coronation Street.
It gives it a platform to show the actual issue without sort of personalising it to someone and someone having to give a personal explanation. It's a fictional thing, so it creates that reality for young people to sort of like, you can talk about it in that, what did you think about the show?
As a third person.
And then you can, like you say, it creates an easy topic for discussion. And it also, I think it depends on the young people, the young person, if they should watch it, because some young people aged 10 could watch it supervised, but some older young people aged 13 will need really strong supervision, so it kind of depends on the sort of, I think, on the background and the young person.
I don't think there's nothing graphic shown on these programmes anyway, so I think anything that creates discussion around this topic is good, and even with the people that put complaints in, it's creating that awareness more and more and more, so any publicity is good publicity, I think, in circumstances like this. I think soaps and shows on television definitely have a responsibility to highlight these issues, and I think they need to go quite dark, and yes, that may cause trigger points with some victims, but it also enables those who haven't had the opportunity to come forward to trigger that next step.
I think it's important that they show this, because this isn't something that's only happening on that show. It's something that's happening in real life.
And you can't censor real life, can you? How dark do you think they should go though? Do you think they have to be a point where they have to stop?
But dark. I think at the end of the day, when they're talking about dark, they're talking about the fact that we saw that young woman go into a room and 4 men go in and shut the door. Is that dark? Or are we just saying that we shouldn't show that actually out there in the real world this is happening to young people? It isn't something that happens, once every blue moon. It's actually happening now, and there are young people out there who are experiencing this, and some of them, by watching that programme, will actually identify, well, actually that's happening to me. So perhaps I'm not in control, perhaps I'm not consenting, perhaps it isn't my choice, and then from there can have a conversation with somebody else. But how dark it's
showing that it's not okay as well.
On one hand, for me it's a nonsense that it's really dark. The show, in those soaps they've had murders, people being blown up, fires, and we're talking about things that probably wouldn't happen in real life. But something that happens in real life, we're talking about how dark should we go. It's like, why shouldn't the public know that this is a real thing that happens?
Well, I suppose when you're talking about dark in this sense, I think what they're meaning is almost like that too close to home kind of thing. It's not a darkness in a thing that's not going to happen. It's something that could potentially happen or has happened to someone they know or them.
I've seen similar things on TV, and it's almost to have the helpline number afterwards, and I think with young people maybe a helpline number isn't enough. Maybe they need a few more, like 2 or 3 more minutes explaining in the local area who can contact, almost having it sort of regionally based. So in this area it'll obviously be safe and sound, but different areas around what can be done for the young person. So it's okay, this is happening, this is a number, but how many young people just want to pick up a phone and go, oh, this is happening? It's actually, it maybe needs a bit more follow through. Or victims potentially giving their accounts and saying, this has happened to me, this is what I did, and taking the fiction, bring it back to reality, and then taking actually, right, how can we go forward? You don't.
All the focus is usually supporting the young person or the victim after
Yeah.
the programme.
Yeah.
I think what would be useful is if they also aim support at professionals who may have a question around it, or parents where they can get the support. Not always just a bit, always very important that we have the support there for the victim, but also what does mum and dad need to do? What does a concerned citizen need to do if they think that they suspect something from a neighbour? Who do they ring? Not just the victim. Good to have that information on as a follow up as well.
And I suppose, if the ending, at some point that storyline's going to end, and if it doesn't end in a really good way, what is that message sending to young people and parents? The reality is that, yes, people get prosecuted, they get taken to court, but they don't always end up in prison. They don't always end up being arrested and, sent away. And I think sometimes people want that happy ending. People want to see, the villain getting done, sent away. But they want the villain caught really quickly, and unfortunately it doesn't work that way, Otherwise, we wouldn't have the job that we have. Yeah. But I suppose the complaints are good because, the papers are talking about it. Yeah. And, so people that haven't watched it are probably watching it because they want to know what's going on.